A girl who once was described as an unteachable, illiterate little monster by her family members became the author of 14 books and hundreds of speeches. She was not just like any author, she was a trailblazer who overcame the challenges of being both deaf and blind to become a renowned writer, speaker, and advocate for people with disabilities.
Sure. Yes. Water. It has a name. Yes. 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 Yes.
The emotional scene you watched was a pivotal moment for Helen Keller when her life changed forever. But who exactly was Helen Keller? In this video, we will learn English by reviewing her life. Helen Adams Keller was born on June 27, 1880, in Tuscumbia, Alabama, USA. She was the first child of Captain Arthur Keller, a former officer in the Confederate Army, and Kate Adams Keller. Helen was a lively and curious baby. She started speaking when she was just 6 months old and began walking at 1 year. Her family adored her, and she brought a lot of joy into their home. Helen was a bright and happy child, exploring the world around her with great enthusiasm. Illness strikes, but when Helen was 19 months old, something very sad and unexpected happened. She became very ill with a high fever. Doctors today think it might have been scarlet fever or meningitis. This illness left Helen blind and deaf. Imagine how confusing and scary that must have been for her. Little Helen couldn't see her parents' faces or hear their voices anymore. Her world turned dark and silent. The once cheerful and lively child now lived in a world of darkness and silence. Early struggles. Helen's life became very challenging. She couldn't communicate with anyone, which made her very frustrated and angry. She often had tantrums and acted out because she couldn't express her thoughts or understand what others wanted from her. Her parents were very worried and didn't know how to help her. They loved her very much and wanted to find a way for Helen to communicate and learn. They tried different methods to reach her, but nothing seemed to work. Helen's frustration grew, and so did her parents' despair. Meeting Anne Sullivan. When Helen was 6 years old, her parents learned about a special school for blind and deaf children in Boston. They contacted the school, and the principal recommended a wonderful teacher named Anne Sullivan. Anne had her own struggles with vision, so she understood some of what Helen was going through. Anne came to live with the Kellers in March 1887, and this marked the beginning of a life-changing friendship. Anne was just 20 years old, but she was determined to help Helen. She had recently graduated from the Perkins School for the Blind, where she had learned many skills that would be useful in teaching Helen. The breakthrough. Anne started teaching Helen using a method called finger spelling. She would spell words into Helen's hand using a special alphabet. At first, Helen didn't understand what these finger movements meant, but Anne was patient and persistent. She never gave up. Then, one day, something amazing happened. Anne took Helen to a water pump in the yard. She let the cool water run over Helen's hand and spelled W-A-T-E-R into her other hand. Suddenly, Helen understood. She realized that the word water stood for the wonderful cool liquid flowing over her hand. This was a huge breakthrough. Helen was so excited. She wanted to learn more words immediately. She touched everything she could find and asked Anne to spell the names into her hand. This moment at the water pump was the key that unlocked Helen's ability to communicate with the world around her. Learning to read and write. Helen's hunger for knowledge grew. She learned to read using Braille, a system of raised dots that blind people use to read by touch. She also learned to write using a special board called a Braille slate. Helen's progress was incredible. She could now communicate with the world around her. She read books and wrote letters, opening up a whole new world of learning and communication. Anne introduced Helen to literature, science, and mathematics, and Helen eagerly absorbed this new knowledge. She loved reading, and her favorite books included Little Women and the Bible. Helen's thirst for knowledge was insatiable, and she quickly became proficient in reading and writing Braille, learning to speak. But Helen didn't stop there. She wanted to learn to speak, even though she couldn't hear her own voice. This was a very difficult task, but Helen was determined. Anne and other teachers helped Helen by letting her feel the vibrations of their throats as they spoke. Helen practiced tirelessly, feeling the shapes and movements of their mouths and throats. Slowly, Helen learned to make sounds and then words. She worked very hard and eventually learned to speak well enough to be understood by others. This was another remarkable achievement for Helen. She continued to improve her speaking skills throughout her life and became an accomplished public speaker. Education. Helen was very intelligent and determined to get a good education. She attended several schools for the blind and deaf, where she continued to learn and grow. In 1900, Helen entered Radcliffe College, which is part of Harvard University. Anne Sullivan went with her to every class, spelling the lectures into Helen's hand. Imagine how challenging that must have been for both of them. But Helen was dedicated and worked very hard. In 1904, she graduated with honors, becoming the first deaf-blind person to earn a Bachelor of Arts degree. This was a monumental accomplishment and made Helen very proud. Her journey through college was not easy, but her determination and perseverance paid off. Writing and public speaking after college, Helen wanted to share her story with the world. She wrote her first book, The Story of My Life, which tells about her early years and how she learned to communicate. The book was a big success and inspired many people. Helen wrote many more books and articles throughout her life, including The World I Live In, Out of the Dark, and Midstream, My Later Life. Her writing was full of insight and wisdom, touching the hearts of many readers. Helen's books provided a glimpse into her world and the challenges she faced, as well as her triumphs and joys. Helen also became a famous public speaker. She traveled all over the world, giving speeches and raising awareness about people with disabilities. She spoke about the importance of education and equal opportunities for everyone. Even though she couldn't see or hear, Helen's words reached and inspired many people. She showed the world that anything is possible with determination and hard work. Helen's speeches were often emotional and powerful, and she used her platform to advocate for social change and justice, advocacy, and social work. Helen was not just a writer and speaker, she was also an activist. She worked tirelessly to improve the lives of people with disabilities. She joined many organizations and lobbied for better education and job opportunities for the blind and deaf. Helen was a strong advocate for people with disabilities, women's rights, and other social causes. She believed in justice and equality for all. One of the organizations Helen worked with was the American Foundation for the Blind. She joined in 1924 and worked with them for over 40 years. She helped raise funds, improve services, and spread awareness about the needs of blind people. Helen's efforts made a big difference in many lives. She also worked with the American Civil Liberties Union, ACLU, and was an outspoken advocate for labor rights and social justice. Helen was a member of the Socialist Party and supported various progressive causes throughout her life. Travel and meeting famous people. Helen traveled extensively throughout her life. She visited over 39 countries, meeting world leaders, celebrities, and ordinary people. She wanted to spread her message of hope and determination to as many people as possible. Some of the famous people she met included Alexander Graham Bell, Mark Twain, Charlie Chaplin, and various presidents of the United States. Her travels also included a trip to Japan, where she was warmly received and admired. Helen's encounters with these influential figures often led to lifelong friendships and collaborations. Later years and legacy. In her later years, Helen continued to work and inspire people. She received many awards and honors for her achievements, including the Presidential Medal of Freedom, one of the highest civilian honors in the United States. She met some of the most famous and influential people in the world, and her legacy continued to grow. Helen's life was a testament to the power of perseverance and the human spirit. Helen Keller passed away on June 1st, 1968, at the age of 87. Her life was full of challenges, but also full of incredible achievements and contributions. She showed the world that with determination, hard work, and a little help from friends, we can overcome almost any obstacle. Helen's legacy lives on, inspiring countless people to strive for their dreams and make a positive difference in the world. At the end, we can say that Helen Keller's story is a powerful reminder that no matter what difficulties we face, we can achieve great things if we never give up. Her life teaches us the importance of perseverance, courage, and the power of education. Helen Keller's legacy is a beacon of hope, showing us that we can overcome our limitations and achieve our dreams. Thank you for watching. If you found Helen Keller's story as inspiring as we did, please like this video and subscribe to our channel for more amazing stories. Remember, you can achieve anything you set your mind to. See you next time.